Hello, welcome to Hollowponds Solo Sagas, and today we will do our first session of something I've been promising for a very long time, of Pirate Borg. Now, I do not have the pirate costume on this time, and I will not be doing the pirate voice because of the vote that you did. Thank you very much. Captain Pete, I will be showing his face again. Don't you worry, lads. Anyway, Pirate Borg, here's the plan. Here's the plan, my hearties. What we're going to do is I'm going to use, because I've basically put it off because I wasn't too sure how to play it. I was hoping someone would release a solo thing like Solitary Defilement, but no one has. So we will be using Solitary Defilement if we have a dungeon crawl type thing to explore. We will be using Mythic GM Emulator to do our fate charts and our verbs to ask questions. And we are going to use a lot of the setting from the actual Pirate Borg main rulebook. I've decided that we will explore the Dark Caribbean as outlined within this sandbox area. We might go explore some dungeons, explore some things, and then we will just use the chaos factor and the random stuff from GM Emulator. If you've never seen GM Emulator being used before, there are 1001 different videos that you can go and have a look at, and you can see how GM Emulator works. We will also be using the general history of the Dark Caribbean, which is like the Dark Omens within Morkborg, to give a background to what's going on. So every session I will roll a d3 and we'll slowly work our way through all of them until the world ends. And we just use that as a bit of a phase in the background. We might use the whole of the d6s or the d whatevers. If it rolls a 1 it degrades like in Morkborg. Haven't quite decided because I only thought about that just before sitting down, but we'll use that as a background to see. So what I've done is I have cut a bit of me starting to do a character, and I'm going to paste that after this bit. I've already rolled a d6 for container, and I know what the container is. You don't yet, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some background about Pirate Borg. So rather than dive straight into doing a character, which is what I did, I'm going to give you some background of Pirate Borg, and then we'll go back to doing the character generation. So, Pirate Borg. Pirate Borg is set in an alternate history of the pirating buccaneer times within the Caribbean, which is called the Dark Caribbean. Now, Free League Publishing has released some assets that you can use. So I'll put up a Dark Caribbean map, hopefully, here. Now, in front of my pretty face. You don't have to see my pretty face at the moment. You're looking at a Dark Caribbean map. Joyous beyond joy. Now, what we can see is that there's various areas. Now, what area we are specifically going to focus on, I will try and zoom in on, which is Black Coral Bay. That's where our adventure is going to start off, in Black Coral Bay. But we have various different aspects of the Dark Caribbean and various different places that we can go and explore. And when we go and explore them, I'll read the bits out. But basically, the Dark Caribbean in the alternate past history, we have discovered that there are undead within the Caribbean. Now, one of the things about the undead is, if you kill the undead, what is left over from the undead's, is it their brains? So basically what you do is you take the undead once you've killed them, and because they're a bit crumbly in the first place, you can crumble them down, and you get a substance called ash. Now, ash is a highly sought after substance within the world at large, because there are a variety of different effects that come off of it. Also, of course, it's a bit addictive. So I think it's very much, there was the opium trade in this time. Opium trade, there was also sugar was being traded. But opium trade was a big thing, and ash is our replacement for the opium trade, which isn't something to be its history. So ash is the substance which is known in this alternate dark past history. Now we still have, we've got the pirates, we've got the British, we have the French, we have the Spanish. We also have the occult, or the Cthulhu-esque, which was the word of the day that Mandy and I had the other day, where we have old ones and lots of sunken stuff, and we have the old gods who exist, so Cthulhu-esque elements. There's of course the jungles of the Yucatan, where you have various different Aztecian things and things that we could go and explore, try and seek treasure. And we've got, as I said, I can't remember which bit I did it in because I've lost my flow, the dark history of the Caribbean. So perhaps before we start playing, before we start generating Captain Pete and all of his ability scores and such like, I'll give you an example, a taster, of what we have in the dark Caribbean history. So we have got 5. So the first 3 things have kicked off. So at the moment within the world we have the Spanish and the English are at war. Both are recruiting privateers. They pay in advance. Do you know what a privateer is? A privateer was basically somebody who was paid by one of the sides to raid the other side. They had special certificates which said they were allowed to basically be pirates as long as they only pirated against one thing. So the English would pay for pirates to attack the Spanish, and the Spanish would pay for pirates to attack the English, and they were called privateers, not pirates, because they were doing it under a certain code. There was a certain code they had to abide by, but basically they were pirates that would only attack those things. Also, we have Port Royal is destroyed in an earthquake. Port Royal, is Port Royal on here? Yes, here we go, Port Royal. We'll highlight it on the map now. Port Royal. Port Royal is a wreck now because it's been destroyed in an earthquake. So we could go and explore Port Royal and see if we can dig any treasures out of there. Thousands are killed, more are homeless. So Port Royal is a bit of a desolate wasteland at the moment, and we can go there for treasures. And also we've got, we mentioned this in a Cthulhu episode. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. I think it was the week before for you, episode 3, where we had sky trumpets or heavenly trumpets. But this we have heavenly screams. Horrifying screams are coming from the sea, reported region-wide. No known source. So that's the first 3 elements. Once we get down to the 6th element of chapter 6, we have the end of times and we'll close the campaign. There we go. Rush through that a bit. Now, what we're going to do is I will signal to Future Pete, who's doing the editing. I'm going to apologise to Future Pete now. I'll leave this in. Sorry, Future Pete, for doing this. I really should write down the flow, but I'm not that well organised. We're now going to go back to generating Captain Pete's character. I'll see you in a second with me, who looks just like me, but is past me, but now will become future me. But first, my hearties, what we're going to do is we're going to roll up Captain Pete. We are. So, I'm sure many other people on the old internets have done how to roll a character for Pirate Borg, but I'm going to go through it. So if you don't like it, I don't know, you can skip through to a bit, but what we do is we'll do that and then we'll do a first encounter and we'll call that first session, and I will have broken the seal, as it were, on Pirate Borg. So how do we roll a character for Pirate Borg? Very much like Mort Borg, to be honest. So first off, we roll on each of the tables on that page, which is this page, which gives us container, cheap gear and fancy gear. So we roll a d6 and 2 d12s. I will get these dice off of here. Do excuse me, do talk among yourselves. Though we are solo gamers, so you're probably on your own. As I am. So, roll a d6. First off, we roll a d6. What does Captain Pete has a backpack. And a backpack will give him 10 items he can carry whilst he's exploring Coral Town. We'll also, actually, so, we have rolled out, thank you very much, past Pete. I'll take the baton and I'll continue. We rolled our 5, which means, hold on, I couldn't have rolled a 5. I thought I said a 4. Anyway, we've got a backpack, which means that we can carry 10 items. Next, we roll to see what our cheap gear is, which is a d12. 11. D6 torches. So we're carrying in our backpack 5 torches. And now we have some fancy gear, which is another d12. 2. Our fancy gear is a spyglass. Nice and piratey. So, we have some gear to start off Captain Pete. Now, we do know Captain Pete is Captain Pete, or Captain Pete. So next, what we do when we're doing a Pirate Borg character is we roll forward. What's this say? Your class alternately landlubbers, PCs with no class can roll forward. Now we're going to get 3d6. So we're going to roll 3d6 and we will go straight down for each of our bits. So we've got 3d6, 1, 2, We haven't got a third one. Hold on, talk among yourselves. I'm going to get some 3d6. We're a pirate, so we're going to mix and match dice. We will use those three. They all rolled ones. That bodes well. So, strength. Captain Pete has got 12. Now 12, if we have a look here, I'll show you this. 12 across the top equates to a +0 for strength. We have agility, which is a 9. A 9 is also +0 for our agility. We have presence. I'll go through what these are. Oh, we've got 16 for presence. 16 gives us a +2. That means like shooting or firing things. Toughness is a 10. A 10 is a 0. And spirit, which is used in magic. I very rarely include magic in these things. Very, very rarely. Oh, wow. Is 12. It's 14. And I think that's because I never played magic user type characters. I always played physical violence type characters. Thus, I don't really think of magic. I should really do that. So, strength, of course, is crushing, lifting, striking, grappling. Agility is defending, balancing, swimming, and fleeing. Remember, you do a DR roll check on to do, and it's all player-centric rolls. Presence, smarts, ranged weapons, perceiving, charming. Oh, of course, Captain Pete's a charmer, isn't he? Eh? Landlubber? He's a charmer. When he is, he's got +2. Toughness, drinking grog, holding breath, survive falling. But Captain Pete is a bit of a glass cannon. And then finally, we have spirit, willpower, using relics, casting rituals. So basically, Captain Pete is good at presence, and spirit, everything else is 0. We have roll or choose your class. We're not going to be a landlubber. Oh, we can do all these bits. So what we've got, we can hold our breath for 1 plus toughness minutes, so 1 minute. Is there any way to write this down? I've got character sheets as well. Look, character sheets. Nope, can't see anywhere to write this stuff. It don't matter. Do it. No. Carry capacity. We've got 8. We can carry capacity of 8. We've got that written down over there. So, what shall we be? Now, we can roll a d6 or a d8 to work out what we be. I think it's nice if Captain Pete would either be a buccaneer who's good at shooting stuff, or he's going to be a swashbuckler. I think Captain Pete being a swashbuckler is more likely. Captain Pete, swashbuckler extraordinaire. So, we have swashbucklers. They are swashbuckly. The other ones have got a bit of writing next to them. Buccaneer, skill trackers and survivalists, expert sharpshooters. No, that doesn't sound like. Rapscallion, a sneaky cutthroat scallywag. No. Brute is not. Captain Pete is definitely not a brute. We've also got a zealot, which is more of a clericy priest. No. Or a sorcerer. No, that's not Captain Pete either. A haunted soul. Well, he's being chased by his missus, but he's not a haunted soul, and he's also not a merman. So he's a swashbuckler. So, swashbucklers get a d10 plus toughness in hit points. So our toughness is 0, which gives us 5 hit points. Not great. And we begin with a d2 Devil's Luck. 1 to 3 is 1. We got 2 Devil's Luck. Devil's Luck is you can use it to re-roll things, get maximum damage. It's the same as omens in Morkborg. We begin with a d10 weapons. Hold on. Slow down, Captain Pete. We've got a +1 to strength. Does that put our strength? So does that put our strength to +1? I think it does. So our strength becomes +1 instead of 0. We have a +1 to agility. So our agility becomes +1 instead of 0. We have a -1 to presence. So our presence becomes +1 instead of +2. And we have a -1 to spirit. So our spirit becomes 0. That's not bad. Nothing's gone to negatives. Everything, and a couple have gone to positives. So that's that. We've got our swashbuckler. Hit points we've done. Our weapon is a d10. So we roll a d10 for weapon. What do we get? Was that a 1? It was a 1, wasn't it? Weapon, marlin spike or a belaying pin. Basically, it's like a club. So, oh, come on, it's Captain. I'm going to give him another roll. Okay? And this is a Captain. It's Captain Pete. 2. Knife or bayonet. Okay, it still does a D4 damage, but we're going to give him a knife. So he is going to get a knife or a bayonet as his weapon. I mean, it still does D4 damage. And then we have, what sort of clothes does Captain Pete have? D10. 6. Fancy clothes, of course, because he's a captain of a ship. And he's got a hat. But we have a 4, which means that our hat is none. We've lost our hat. Oh no, Captain Pete, you're showing your top of your body head to everyone. You lost your hat. You begin with one of the following fighting styles. So it's runaway time. So we get a D6 on our fighting styles. 5. Knife knave. Oh, that's all right. You start with 2 knives, and when attacking with them, you can make 2 attacks a turn. They are DR -2 to hit, and if the first attack hits, the second has an auto hit. Oh, that's quite cool. Okay, so Captain Pete's a bit of a stabby fella, but he keeps it on the quiet because he likes to chat. Each time you gain experience, no, we're not on that bit yet. So that is our class. We are, of course, humans, because humans is what it be. Now, we can go page 55 and do our background. Let's find some stuff out about Captain Pete. So we've got background, which is a D100, which we're going to be using a lot of because we're going to use Mythic. We've got 28. 28 gives us... Oh, we used to be a bosun. Oh, that's cool. We were a bosun, so maybe we were a bosun aboard here. We were a bosun aboard our ship, which we'll roll the name now. There's a table somewhere with the names of ships. Oh, I thought there were anyway. Ship names. Let me have a look. Stop hassling me. Ships and vessels. Alright, okay, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to give me the name of a pirate ship. The Phantom Voyager. That's very nice. So our ship is called the Phantom Voyager. GPT says it sounds mysterious and adventurous, perfect for setting sail in the high seas. He's not wrong either, is she? Sorry, she. I think of GPT as a she. So, Captain Pete was the bosun of the Phantom Voyager. The captain accidentally died, leaving Captain Pete in charge of the Phantom Voyager with the respect of some crew and 2d6, 8 and 80 silver. So Captain Pete has 80 silver, 2 knives, which I probably have to write down. Might also do that now. Where's the damage of a knife? D4, of course. Maybe the ex-captain of the Phantom Voyager was found with some mysterious stab wounds in his back. No one could work out how it happened. Maybe it was a bit of a blustery night, and I went in to check on the captain. I did, and he'd fallen onto the table, and he caught his back on his knife from his dinner, and then he must have fallen forwards and fallen back and fallen forwards and fallen back about 20 or 30 times. It was quite a peculiar thing. You know, funnier things happen at sea. And so then he took over the Phantom Voyager. So we have... Where can I write down the respect of some of the crew? Here. So, what do we have next? Next, we would do a distinctive flaw. Alright, what's Captain Pete's distinctive flaw? D20 for the old sea dog. Salty sea dog. 18. Pretentious. Oh, it couldn't have been better. He's a bit pretentious, is our Captain Pete. Captain Pete? Sorry. Captain Pete, thank you very much. I am not pretentious. I just knows I am good at what I do.
Thus I am wearing my finest clothes, even out to sea.
You got to look good. Distinct, what have we got now? So that's a distinctive flaw. And then we have a physical trademark, another D20. A 4, missing a leg, peg leg or crutch. All right, we'll give him a peg leg.
Hey, don't you call me Peg Leg Pete. I am Captain Pete, not Peg Leg. You got it.
Many a ship's mate. What was it? Many a seaman. For example, there was that famous seaman, Seaman Staines, has come to an ill end because of calling him Peg Leg Pete. Idiosyncrasies. All right, let's see what do we have here? 10. You are a voluntary insomniac. Sleep is for the dead. That's actually me. That's real Pete. I hate going to sleep. Voluntary insomniac. I'm better than I was. Because apparently a good night's sleep is good for you. Otherwise you can, early. I don't want to do that. World's too interesting. Sorry, I'm just going to consume lots of coffee now. Lovely. Now we've got unfortunate instance and conditions. Another D20. 9. Your last crew was killed by undead. They left you alive on purpose. All right. Okay, that will work. Okay, so what we're going to have it as the Phantom Voyager. So
Captain Pete took over the Phantom Voyager as described by stumbling upon the dead captain, who in his last dying breath said, "Oh, Bosun Pete, I now promote you to captain. I trust you to take over the crew and my ship." And after doing that, I decided to take the crew back to the Dark Caribbean. We went there looking for ash. Yes, we did. Quick gold doubloon in the ash there is. Talk about pieces of 8, big bundles of them. But sadly, the old crew got massacred by the undead. Somewhere out there is the remains of the Phantom Voyager. There we go. Somewhere in the Dark Caribbean is the ship, the Phantom Voyager. So what we're going to try and do, yes, and a small collection of the crew. So let's see, how many of the crew? Like two or three extras will give me some comedy names and some people to back us up in a fight. So there are 3 crew survived. How about the second in command? Because I thought about that, a funny name for the second in command. Now, second in command, because we're on the tail end of series 2 of Battlestar, because we both like Battlestar. And of course, you've got the XO. Now, I thought the second in command being XO, and everyone calls him Oxo, which is spelled O-X-O, Oxo. And then we'll do 2 more people, and we'll roll them up when we need them. But there's 4 of us, and so what we're going to look for is we have now come up to the shore of I forgot what it was called, Black Coral Bay, where Coral Town is, and we're going to attempt to try and earn enough money to buy a ship to go off and find the Phantom Menace and bring it back. Phantom Menace? Not the Phantom Menace, that's a terrible film. I'm talking about the Phantom Voyager. Now this one, we'll call this series the Phantom Voyager. Series is called the Phantom Voyager because we're going to go and try and get a ship, a small little scoop or something, and go back and go and get our big ship. Now, let's have a look and see if we can see how much is a little ship. My phone's beeping a lot because I put a video up and people are liking it. Which you can't complain about, really, can you? So, does it say how much they cost? Probably. Is this a situation as if you have to ask the cost, you can't afford it? Well, I can't find the cost of the ships. If you can put me down, otherwise I'll try and find it between next time I record. We need cost of ship. Maybe we can get a new ship. Now, what I do know about Coral Town is Coral Town does have a governor. So Coral Town is a pirate town. It's seen better days.
You don't walk down the streets unless you fancy getting mugged or you're planning on mugging someone. It's a grog and debauchery type town. So, you know, just a sort of place for a bunch of young pirates out for fun and games. So maybe we can do some work for someone, as I do know that the governor of Coral Town is an interesting fellow, and so he might be able to give us some work. Otherwise, we can go off looking for treasure to try and earn a ship, or we might try and steal a ship. Who knows? But our last crew was killed, and finally, we have our final thing to go back to our character creation. We have thing of importance. We have a percentage roll for a thing of importance. So it looks like I've been going for about half an hour, but it will cut down. 65. Thing of importance, tattoo. All right. So Captain Pete has a bit of a tattoo. Maybe that's why he's got a high presence, because his tattoo is quite attractive. Now, we'll roll a d4 and that will tell us tattoo d4. Oh, if it's a 4, that would be interesting. What do we get? I can't see it. 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 It's a 1. That's not interesting at all. A love tattoo. So that is why people like Captain Pete, because he's got a nice big tattoo of his mum. It's a portrait of Captain Pete's mum. It is. Or that's what he tells people, but actually it's his first wife, who was a bit on the older side, and he thought he'd be marrying into money. But sadly, it didn't work, because pretentious Captain Pete didn't really pay attention to who he was marrying, and he married not well, and thus he became a pirate and ran away to sea. So, we have come up, so the 4 of us, me, Exo, i.e. Captain Pete, Exo, we have got the ship's cabin boy. Can you guess his name? So a ship's cabin boy would be called Master. And what's his last name? It's the name of the butler in Downton Abbey. Can you remember his name? His name was Bates. So we've got young Bates, or yes, Master. We got Exo, Oxo, and then we got another one. We'll have Bosun. The only thing that comes into my mind is Bosun Bill, and I don't know why, but he's Bosun Bill. So Bosun Bill and young Bates are rowing our surviving ship as Captain Pete stands there with his... Didn't he have a spyglass? I think he had a spyglass. I vaguely recall. He did! Captain Pete's got a spyglass. Captain Pete's standing there as it's dark and he's coming forward, and we're going forwards in towards... We've just sailed from... Oh, I tell you, Captain Pete is absolutely shattered. He's been standing there telling the lads to row for hours, it feels like, and they're not rowing fast enough because Captain Pete's getting a bit bored of saying, "Row, lads! Don't just look at me. Row with the boat towards Coral Town." And as we get into the harbour of Coral Town, and Captain Pete, it's dark because it's night time. And at night time, I don't know if you know this, it gets dark. And because it's dark and it's night time, they don't see the 2 ships that are having a little bit of a disagreement in the port. Now the 2 ships are trying to dock, but there's only one spot for the docking. And so what you see normally happens in a time like this, in a place like Coral Town, in a very well respected place like Coral Town, is they try and blow 7 bells out of each other. And that's what these 2 ships are doing. All of a sudden, the sky is lit up by a flash, which everyone on board the little rowboat recognises as cannon fire. And a big cannonball goes flying over the top and strikes the ship on the far side. Shall we find out what these ships are called? We can do that because there's a table here. Now what we've got is got ships docked, D12 for each ship docked. Now there's only one port. Docking bay? Would it be called docking bay? I think it would. And that docking bay is being fought over by the... We'll roll 2 D12s. I'll roll them both at the same time and make it easier. We have got the Royal Dragon is knocking several shades out of the Queen Isabella's Malice. What do we got? The Royal Dragon is a large decorative flute stolen by a noble family. The figurehead can talk. They're recruiting for a raid. Ooh. We've got these two are knocking each other about, which is the Queen Isabella's Malice. I'll tell you what, as an intro, why don't we end there? And what I'll do is I'll crack out some of my... I've got the miniatures, the ship miniatures, which was from the Pirates of the Caribbean little card game. I've mentioned them before, back when Cat and Pete was playing, I think it was called Voyage, with the cards. I'll get those out, and what we can try and do is we'll try and do a naval combat between these two ships, and we'll do that at the beginning of the next session, and maybe Cat and Pete, so if they both survive, we'll give them a handful of rounds to try and knock each other apart. If they both survive, then Cat and Pete will just go on shore. Otherwise, they will probably destroy one of them, and if that does, there might be some flotsam and jetsam. Do you know the difference between flotsam and jetsam? Shall I tell you? Flotsam is what comes off the ship and no one means it to, i.e. the ship blows up and all the bits are floating all over the place. Flotsam. Jetsam is stuff people chucked over the side on purpose, jettisoning the cargo. And so we'll see if we can grab something and then take it and sell it. But we will have had our second in command, Oxo, has been telling us. Now there's some certain things about Coral Town which are quite amusing. And you're going to have to wait and find out until next session. But Oxo has been saying, so Captain, I'll tell you, Coral Town, I'll have to try and remember this accent for Oxo. Coral Town is a very, very pleasant place. Me and the missus used to go there on holidays back in the day when she lived here. In fact, when she lived, she died, sadly. She got mugged and killed in Coral Town, as it happens, but it was nothing to do with the place. No, she was a bit of a extravagant woman. She'd spend a lot of my money on shoes. So anyway, Coral Town's a lovely, lovely place, Captain. It really is. Are you sure it is there, Oxo, my second in command, oh son? Oh yes, Captain, definitely. And that's the conversation they were having as the cannonballs start flying and the two ships light up the night sky as people start to cheer from the shore as these two ships start going at it head to head. And that is where we will leave it, and we will rejoin the adventures of Cat and Pete and his crew as they approach Coral Town and find out what Coral Town is about and try and get hold of a ship to go back and get the Phantom Voyager and the stuff on board, including what ash they had collected. As there was a small fortune of, I'm going to write that down, small fortune of ash. And then we might start using Mythic, but I've never used it before and I'm a bit nervous. Anyway, wish me luck. See you next week. Have a good one. Bye.